President Donald Trump made clear Saturday that he would not follow his predecessor's practice of recognizing Indigenous Peoples Day alongside Columbus Day in October, accusing Democrats of denigrating the explorer's legacy as he pressed his campaign to restore what he argues are traditional American icons. Democrat Joe Biden was the first president to mark Indigenous Peoples Day, issuing a proclamation in 2021 that celebrated the invaluable contributions and resilience of Indigenous peoples and recognized their inherent sovereignty. The proclamation noted that America was conceived on a promise of equality and opportunity for all people, but that promise we have never fully lived up to. That is especially true when it comes to upholding the rights and dignity of the Indigenous people who were here long before colonization of the Americas began. Trump on Saturday used a social media post to declare, "I'm bringing Columbus Day back from the ashes." He said on his Truth Social site that the Democrats did everything possible to destroy Christopher Columbus, his reputation, and all of the Italians that love him so much. The woman, whose identity is protected under a standard publication ban, started her testimony Friday after two former teammates took the stand in the trial that began Monday. The complainant, who has been referred to as EM in court documents, is appearing virtually in the courtroom. She is not testifying in front of the five defendants. Michael McLeod, Carter Hart, Alex Formanton, Dylan Dube and Callan Foote have all pleaded not guilty to sexual assault. McLeod has also pleaded not guilty to an additional charge of being a party to the offense of sexual assault. The charges stem from what Crown prosecutors allege was non-consensual group sex in a London, Ontario, hotel room back in June 2018. The Crown has said the complainant, who was 20 at the time, agreed to have sex with McLeod in his hotel room after meeting him at a downtown bar on. After they had sex, prosecutor Heather Donkers alleged in her opening remarks McLeod started inviting other people into his hotel room. Donkers said the woman was drunk and uncomfortable, and tried to get through the night by doing what she thought the men wanted. Pierre Nyst Armand, the 53-year-old man who crashed a bus into a daycare in Laval, Quebec, has been found not criminally responsible for his actions. Both the Crown and the defense recommended Nyst Armand be found not criminally responsible during a trial held before a judge. In light of the evidence that was presented jointly, that was neither contradicted nor contested, it is undeniable that the bus driven by Pierre Nyst Armand crashed into the daycare, Quebec Superior Court Justice Eric Downs said in his decision. The court is convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused was dealing with mental health issues, namely psychosis, at the time of the event. Nyst Armand rammed the bus into the Laval daycare on February 8, 2023, killing a 4-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. After the crash, Nyst Armand stood inside the mangled bus and undressed, speaking and yelling incoherently before being subdued by parents on the scene. He was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, as well as charges of assault with a weapon and assault causing bodily harm in relation to 6 other children who were injured. Downs said that this decision doesn't acquit or absolve Nyst Armand. But he acknowledged that his ruling won't help understand why the tragedy happened. Quebec bus driver in fatal daycare crash unable to tell right from wrong, second expert tells court. The parents of children who were involved or impacted by the incident were in the room, and some burst into tears after hearing the ruling. "I'm lucky to still have my 2 children with me. One with a lot of trauma," said Catherine Beaudoin. "But I think there will never be words to describe what we feel and that will never pass." Parents had previously expressed frustration that there would not be a jury trial and that they weren't heard during this process. But Downs said that a jury trial would have come to the same conclusion. Downs based his decision on the testimony presented by 2 psychiatrists who independently concluded that Nyst Armand was suffering from a mental disorder when the incident happened and was incapable of discerning right from wrong at the time of the crash. One psychiatrist testified that Nyst Armand had untreated post-traumatic stress disorder from his childhood as an orphan in war-torn Cambodia, and might have targeted the daycare, as a way of killing his own past. It feels like he's the victim, parent says. Some parents felt NYST Armand was being painted as a victim during the trial and said everyone has a past to deal with. It's shocking to us to see how they talk about him, said parent Melanie Goulet. It feels like he's the victim. Goulet expressed being let down by the process. I feel there is no justice at this point. I feel like criminals have more rights, have more care than all the victims, she said. Goulet pointed to how the defense had made its case based on the fact that NYST Armand had suffered childhood trauma between his birth and the age of 5, and said she worried about the future. That's the case for our kids. They had big trauma at 4 and 5 years old, she said. What's going to happen next? Who's going to take care of them? Parents will have a chance to be heard on Thursday when they deliver victim impact statements in court. I'm going to tell my story, Goulet said. It's a tragic story, but nobody knows about it. The story we know now is the story of that man. Tears, horrified silence as court views moment city bus rams into Quebec daycare. Crown Prosecutor Simon Blaise acknowledged Tuesday's decision was a difficult one for the families affected by the tragedy. We are with all our hearts with them, he said, adding the Crown is doing all it can to ensure the safety of the public and of victims. Blaise said the Crown had filed a motion to have NYST Armand declared a high-risk accused, a designation that would require he face stricter rules around absences from any treatment facility. He also reiterated that the judge's decision was not an acquittal, noting NYST Armand will be detained at the Philippe Pinel Institute, a psychiatric hospital located in Montreal. Missing vulnerable person. Issued at Friday 12:43 p.m. May 9, 2025. Issued by RCMP. Description. Last seen today, May 8, 2025, at 10 a.m. on Gairloch Road. Lily has shoulder-length light brown hair and was wearing a pink sweater, pink pants and pink boots. Jack has short blondish hair and was wearing blue dinosaur boots. Recommended action. For updates, visit RCMP Nova Scotia on Facebook or X. Area description. Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia. Description. Updated. Regarding the regulations previously posted and accompanying signage in parking lots, the regulations are not in effect. The signs have been removed, and the suggested regulations are being considered by the Council at a future Council meeting. We apologize for any concern or confusion. Affected areas: 1. Town of Yarmouth. Instructions. No instructions are provided for this alert. A man in his 40s was rescued from Lake Ontario when a plane crashed into the water near Tommy Thompson Park in Toronto's East End Friday afternoon. Emergency crews responded to the park just before 2:30 p.m. and discovered a small privately owned plane in the water. Police say the pilot, the lone person on board, was pulled out of the water. He sustained non-life-threatening injuries, police say. It is not immediately known why the plane made a water landing. Toronto's Island Airport is approximately 7 kilometers west of where the plane landed. Images show the moment the small plane crashed into the waters of Lake Ontario. Another footage shows a red and white parachute visible in the waters of Lake Ontario. What appears to be a parachute is shown in the waters of Lake Ontario on Friday afternoon. It appears the plane involved is the Cirrus SR-20, which is the only light aircraft equipped with a parachute system. Separation from Canada, saying it's a breach of their treaty right, and they have asked newly elected Prime Minister Mark Carney to get the province of Alberta in line. The Sturgeon Lake Cree Nation and Mikisew First Nation posted on their social media a letter addressed to Ms. Smith dated April 30, calling her statements and actions irresponsible and breaches of Treaties 6, 7, and 8 between Alberta and the Cree and First Nations across the province. If you or any Canadians are not happy living on treaty lands, they are free to apply for citizenship elsewhere, states the letter signed by Chief Sheldon Sunshine and Chief Billy Joe Tuccaro of Sturgeon Lake and Mickiso, respectively. We demand that you immediately step down from this conduct. Another letter from the leaders addressed to the newly elected Prime Minister offers a quick congratulations before asking him to address the situation. We are not prepared to accept any further treaty breaches and violations, the letter states. Their letters are a response to Ms. Smith's push for a bill that would make it easier for Albertans to force a provincial referendum. The proposed bill would include changes that would allow any resident to submit and petition proposed ideas for initiatives, legislation and referendums. Ms. Smith told media Thursday the act doesn't breach any treaties. Any Albertan can put an idea forward on any topic, and if they are able to get the number of signatures, then it would go to a vote, and that includes a vote of members of First Nations, and we encourage Indigenous peoples to participate in the process, the Premier said. While Ms. Smith said she won't lead any efforts for a referendum on the province leaving the Confederation, she also wouldn't get in any would-be separatists' way of doing so. First Nations across the country are reminding both federal and provincial governments of the treaty agreements between the Crown and nations that they say haven't been honoured, as they demand to be included at tables that involve decision-making related to lands, resources, rights and title. Treaty lawyer expert Bruce McKiver says the treaty agreements and relationships between the Crown and nations in Alberta is fundamental to understand because it was established before the province even existed. Alberta doesn't have the legal right to make arbitrary decisions about Indigenous lands, Mr. McKiver said in an interview. He said it's the view of many Treaty First Nations that they never gave up their lands or rights to it. They never surrendered them. They entered into a relationship with the Crown, the Queen's representatives. It's not open to Johnny-come-lately, Alberta to arbitrarily decide that it will ask current citizens whether they want to leave Confederation, Mr. McKiver said. NDP MLA Brooks Archanpal slammed any suggestion of separating without the full consent of First Nations, telling the legislature this week that First Nations in Alberta want their treaties honoured and sovereignty respected. Any path to separation must include meaningful negotiation with First Nations, something this government has no mandate, no plan, and no legitimacy to do, the Shadow Minister for Indigenous Relations said. I will never, ever vote for separatism because this is and always will be Indian land, Mr. Archanpal said. The United Conservative Party is expected to have a caucus meeting Friday to discuss what the future of the party looks like under Mr. Carney, while Ms. Smith assures Albertans the party is working to protect the province against future hostile acts from Ottawa. Police in Hamilton say they are searching for 2 suspects following a stabbing at a downtown mosque on Friday afternoon. The incident happened at the Hamilton Downtown Mosque at 221 York Boulevard, near Queen Street North. Hamilton Police Service, HPS, said at around 2:15 p.m. they received reports that several people had been stabbed following a fight. In a news release, they said that the altercation is believed to have started outside the place of worship and continued inside the building. One person was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, while another was treated at the scene, HPS said, adding that a third victim showed up at the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say the suspects and the victims were known to each other. 2 suspects fled the scene, say police. 2 suspects fled the scene in an unknown direction. There are conflicting reports whether it was 1 or 2 separate vehicles, investigators said. Police have not released any suspect descriptions at this point. They are also saying that at this point in the investigation, they do not believe that this incident is hate-motivated. The investigation is ongoing, and police are appealing to anyone with information to come forward, HPS said. Anyone with information is asked to contact DET Kurzgens at 905-546-3816 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. The Muslim Advisory Council of Canada says it is aware of this incident, is in communication with Hamilton Police and the masjid. The old BC ferry located on the Fraser River near Chester and Lougheed is fully involved on fire. There is a concern of toxic fumes being vented. Residents in the area of Chester Street to 287th Street, south of the Lauid Highway, are advised to shelter in place. Mission Fire Rescue Service is on scene and the Ministry of Environment and Fisheries have been notified. Please avoid the areas crews are working and smoke may be hazardous. The old BC ferry located on the Fraser River near Chester and Lauid is fully involved on fire. There is a concern of toxic fumes being vented. Residents in the area of Chester Street to 287th Street, south of the Lauid Highway, are advised to shelter in place. Mission Fire Rescue Service is on scene and the Ministry of Environment and Fisheries have been notified. Please avoid the areas crews are working and smoke may be hazardous. Lily Corsell, a 7-year-old Chilliwack girl who was missing for 24 hours, was captured on video as she was reunited with family on Friday, May the 9th. The young girl had followed her neighbor's dogs into a wooded area near her home on Winona Road in the Chilliwack River Valley on Thursday, May 1st. The dogs returned, but Lily did not. She was found almost exactly 24 hours later and had wandered quite a distance, said INSP Jeff Bowerman with the Chilliwack RCMP. Lily was able to walk out on her own with a search and rescue team and was later flown to safety by helicopter. She embraced her family outside their home and excitedly told them about her journey. And guess what? I was on an airplane. A police officer looks on outside the venue for the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police annual summit at the Halifax Convention Centre, in Halifax, Tuesday, August 13, 2024. The Canadian Press, Kelly Clark. Halifax Regional Police stopped a driver at around 11 a.m. on Saturday after noting the vehicle's speed. Officers from the traffic unit caught the car on the Burnside Expressway heading towards Sackville. The driver was clocked going 167 km per hour in a 100 km per hour zone. The 25-year-old man was ticketed for stunting, a charge that is automatically laid when a vehicle is caught going more than 50 km per hour over the speed limit. The fine is $2,422.50 and 6 points are assigned to the driver's record. Update on Saturday. Description: Missing vulnerable people, Lily and Jack Sullivan. Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia. The search for missing children Lily and Jack Sullivan is ongoing. The Nova Scotia RCMP is asking for the public's assistance in locating 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack. They were last seen May 8 on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County. Lily has shoulder-length light brown hair with bangs. She might be wearing a pink sweater, pink pants and pink boots. Jack has short blondish hair. He's wearing blue dinosaur boots. Description: Planned wireless service impairment at Sandy Beach Regional Park. Sandy Beach Regional Park. SaskTel will be replacing its existing cell site serving the Sandy Beach Regional Park with a new 5G cell site. During construction, residents may experience temporary disruptions or degraded wireless service, including slower data speeds or reduced signal strength. Construction will begin on the morning of May 6 and is expected to be complete by the end of day on May 15. Invest 99W is currently located over Luzon in the Philippines. The system has a low chance of developing into a tropical cyclone in the next 24 hours. What is an invest? An invest is an area of disturbed weather that is under investigation for its potential to develop into a tropical cyclone. Maximum sustained surface winds are around 30 km per hour, 15 knots. Minimum sea level pressure is estimated to be near 1006 HPA. No advisories or warnings have been issued for Invest 99W at this time. We will be doing this for all of the hurricanes that existed in now it started the 1st of May for some areas in early June. For the Atlantic Ocean. Pacific Ocean is on May 20th. Invest 92S is currently located south of Java, Indonesia. The system has a low chance of developing into a tropical cyclone in the next 24 hours. What is an invest? An invest is an area of disturbed weather that is under investigation for its potential to develop into a tropical cyclone. Maximum sustained surface winds are around 30 km per hour, 15 knots. Minimum sea level pressure is estimated to be near 1008 HPA. No advisories or warnings have been issued for Invest 92S at this time. There are no tropical cyclones in the Eastern Pacific at this time. The Eastern Pacific hurricane season runs from May 15 through November 30. Issuance will resume on May 15, or as necessary. There are no tropical cyclones in the Central Pacific at this time. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1 through November 30. Issuance will resume on May 15, or as necessary. There are no tropical cyclones in the Eastern Pacific at this time. Project: Investing in greener public transit infrastructure in Halifax. How we got here. The zero-emission bus project is the first of its kind in Atlantic Canada. The project will result in the addition of more than 200 electric buses to the Halifax transit fleet, an expansion of the Ragged Lake Transit Centre, and an eco-rebuild of the Burnside Transit Centre to achieve a net zero-ready standard. The zero-emission bus project aligns with municipal, provincial and federal climate targets, and will help to achieve the goals and actions outlined in Halifax CT, the municipality's Climate Action Plan. Where we are. On July 15, 2021, the governments of Canada, Nova Scotia, and the Halifax Regional Municipality announced a combined $112 million investment toward the project. This funding is being used to implement Phase 1 of the project, which includes the procurement of 60 electric buses, an expansion of the Ragged Lake Transit Centre to house the vehicles and the associated charging equipment, and a deep energy retrofit of the facility to achieve a net zero ready standard. Phase 1: Electric buses and Ragged Lake Transit Centre expansion. In May 2022, Halifax Regional Council authorised the purchasing of up to 60 40-foot battery electric buses and chargers from Nova Bus Limited. The buses are similar to the Nova Bus vehicles currently used by Halifax Transit, but will have an electric motor instead of diesel. A photo of Halifax Transit's pilot electric bus parked outside a bus garage. The bus is white on the front, like other Halifax Transit buses, but is wrapped in a special design on the back and sides. The design includes drawings of lighthouses, buses, ferries, the Citadel Hill Clock Tower, the Wave Statue, seagulls, whales, lighting bolts, and more, all connected by lines hinting at electric cables. Halifax Transit's first pilot electric bus, which arrived in December 2023. The first electric bus arrived in December 2023 and is currently being used for training, road testing, and public engagement activities. The remaining 59 buses will arrive over the coming year, with the full fleet anticipated to arrive by the end of 2024. Beginning December 9, 2024, up to 3 electric buses will be placed in passenger service to test the bus's performance in real-world conditions. Construction of the Ragged Lake Transit Centre expansion began in June 2023 and is expected to be completed in late 2024. The new expansion will include space for electric bus storage and charging equipment. Phase 2, Burnside Transit Centre Eco-Rebuild. Phase 2 of the zero-emission bus project includes planning for the replacement of the Burnside Transit Centre with a newly designed, energy-efficient facility to house the zero-emission fleet. Funding is now in place for the planning and design phase of the project. The province is contributing $7.1 million, the federal government is providing $6.5 million, and Halifax Regional Municipality is investing $7.1 million. The new transit centre is expected to be complete by 2028. With no ruling yet from the Missouri Supreme Court in the litigation challenging Proposition A, Missouri's new paid sick leave law is set to go into effect on May 1, 2025. Employers with at least one employee in Missouri should take immediate action to ensure compliance with this deadline. As outlined in our previous client alert, the law imposes significant new obligations on employers with employees in Missouri. Employers with existing paid time off or PTO or paid sick leave policies, including those offering unlimited leave, should not assume their policies automatically comply with the new law. We strongly recommend employers seek legal counsel to review, and if necessary, update their current policies. Overview of requirements effective May 1, 2025. Accrual. Employees begin accruing 1 hour of paid sick leave for every 30 hours worked. Overtime exempt employees are presumed to work 40 hours per week for accrual purposes. Use limits. Employers may cap an employee's use of paid sick leave at 56 hours per calendar year, or 40 hours for employers with fewer than 15 employees. Carryover. Employees are entitled to carry over up to 80 hours of unused paid sick leave into the following year. Front-loading option. Employers may front-load at the start of the year the full amount of expected annual sick leave, 69.33 hours, for an employee working 40 hours per week. If an employer chooses this option, it may elect to pay out unused time at year-end instead of allowing carryover. However, employers may not force a cash out without also front-loading leave for the new year. Permissible reasons. Employees can utilize their paid sick leave for a wide range of qualifying reasons, including for their own physical or mental illness, injury, or health condition, to care for a family member experiencing similar mental or physical health issues, to remain at home during public health emergencies that lead to business closures, to care for a child whose school or care facility has closed due to public health emergency, and to address domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. Notice requirements already in effect. Employers were required to take 2 steps by April 15, 2025. Provide written notice to all Missouri employees outlining their paid sick leave rights under Proposition A, and display the poster issued by the Missouri Department of Labor in the employer's workplace. Failure to comply with these notice and posting requirements could result in significant liability. A willful violation could result in fines of up to $500 per day, with each day counted as a separate offense. The required notice and poster, both available here, must be printed on a single sheet, minimum size 8.5 by 11 inches, in no less than 14-point font. We interpret this to mean that electronic notice alone is likely insufficient. Accordingly, we recommend employers, if they have not done so already, immediately distribute printed copies of the notice to all Missouri employees and display the poster in a common, visible area, such as a break room.